Logan, did you like the new intro?
Yeah, short and sweet.
Yeah, I just want you to know I work really hard on this stuff.
Proud of you. I'm proud of
Well,
you.
this is the first Geek Corner, I think, since Thor, to be honest with you.
Could be. I mean, did we not do one after Guardians?
Oh, Guardians. Yes,
We
we
probably
did.
did one after Guardians because last year was Guardians and then the Marvels, which was terrible. I don't think
Oh, wait, we didn't even waste
nobody
time
even
on it.
watched it, so I don't think we even bothered to do a show. Was there another one last year? Oh, well, yeah, Quantum Mania, but we probably would have done one after that. But that was before Guardians. So
Yeah,
it's been a while. It's been a while. How you been?
Oh, just great. Like we were talking, buying a house, getting ready to be broke and moving and all that good stuff. And that's why I used to have Funko Pops up. I used to have and then I packed them all up, and then I realized when this new movie of Deadpool was coming out, I said I gotta keep this up just in case. And that's why I kept these two Funko Pops out for just the occasion.
Have you seen the cool Funko that I got a few weeks ago?
Probably not.
A coworker of mine got this for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's holding headphones because, headphones, podcast. And I'm a big strawberry milkshake guy.
Okay.
So he's holding what is a strawberry milkshake. So, red hair and glasses and pretty, I think it's pretty cool. But
that's awesome.
First time I ever had my own Funko Pop. So
that's why you're big time. I don't have one of those.
Well, I don't know about big time. I don't know.
Don't worry, Logan. I kept the Doctor Strange Funko Pops out of the picture except for the action figure. That's it.
The Wanda one you got me is behind me. I don't have a Doctor Strange one.
I've got 3 of them.
No kidding.
Well, one's the normal one. One is the one from What If.
Yep.
And then the other one is from the Multiverse of Madness.
How many Funkos do you have in total?
Like 20.
Yeah. That's about where I'm at.
And
all the ones I have are like mostly like my favorite things. Like I'm not going out and just buying like every Funko Pop from every movie that I've seen. Like I'm just not doing it.
Well,
I only have ones that actually mean something to me for the most part. So
I didn't get into it till like 2 or 3 months ago. Just randomly, I was like, for the podcast, let's see if I can't get a couple things. And all of a sudden you find them. Like one of my Deadpool ones, I scanned it, and whether it's true or not, said it was worth $90 already.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, you can't really see. Mine are all behind me right here.
My new podcast thing will have that. I'm going to have exactly that. I'm going to have, if the wife lets me, I'm going to have, like you can see all my books are gone.
Yep.
I'm going to have, like, I just went crazy. I had like Guardian stuff. There's Doctor Strange stuff.
Yeah.
I have one from The Office, Parks and Rec.
Yep.
And then I even have one from Yellowstone. I have him.
Okay.
Loki, Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, like that type of stuff. So I didn't go like, I went crazy, but I didn't go. I even have the green. The funniest one is the Green Power Ranger. I was like, you know what?
The Power Rangers are the only ones that are like a very Logan thing that I haven't gotten my hands on. I have a buddy that has several of them, and I could get them at any point. But I have, I have the personal one I showed you. I have a Chris Bryant Cubs one.
Ooh.
And I have Star-Lord from Guardians Christmas Special. Rudy. That was like a gift. I live in South Bend. Ray from Star Wars. I have a Mr. Rogers. Aladdin up there. Or actually, it's Genie.
That's
Genie from
Aladdin. Good
Aladdin.
idea.
And then I have Star-Lord from Guardians 2, Black Panther from Civil War. I have Disney did a Olaf Presents series from Frozen 2, where Olaf pretends acts like he's in other Disney movies. So it's Olaf as Simba, Buddy the Elf, Buzz and Woody from Toy Story 4, Powerline from a Goofy movie. Artist. Yeah. Joker from The Dark Knight.
Yep.
Tommy and Chucky from Rugrats. Corey and Topanga from Boy Meets World. and then Groot, and then the Wanda. You got me. So
Yeah,
that's my collection. So, and then I have 2 Funko Christmas ornaments, a Buddy the Elf, and then a Harry Potter.
Yeah, mine are all in boxes. I can't remember. I have like Negan from Walking Dead. I have The Rock from his WWE days. I have Ant-Man, Spider-Man. You
got some good. That's a good collection. That's awesome.
I have 2 Deadpool ones, and I was like, well, for this podcast, I'll keep Wolverine out and
good
Deadpool.
Choice. Good choice.
I think this. I don't know if this is the $80 one or not. Whether it says it claims
it's impressive.
$80-$90.
Wow.
It's from it's from the comic, like so. It's,
okay, gotcha.
But yeah, so there's our catching up with that, and then of course I have my Negan bat just in case.
I couldn't tell if you were playing with the bat or if that was your dog, because it's like just kind of dark in the corner, and I thought maybe you were like petting Hazel or something.
No, she's asleep. Okay, she's old, so she goes to the bathroom. Yeah, so I'm ready. I'm ready for. So funny story before we move on.
Yes.
It was for Larry's birthday.
Yep. How is Larry?
Oh, he's, work, whatever. It's whatever. But he likes Walking Dead. And so for his birthday, I was like, let's get him a replica of Negan's bat.
Okay.
I bought it. Like, this is fake. Like, it's not real. Mine is. That's what I thought I got him. So he went and visited, and he goes, hey, you want to see the bat you got me? I was like, yeah. It was a real bat with real barbed wire. And so
wow.
When they were opening it, my mom poked her finger because she didn't know it was real. So I cut her finger, and I was like, oh, no. I thought it was. So it's a real bat with real barbed wire.
Wow, that's awesome, I guess.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, so I went back on and got me a fake one that they use in the show. But he has a real one at home with real barbed wire.
That's so crazy. That's funny.
So I was like, I'll make sure.
Hopefully he hasn't used that on anything.
Oh, yeah. He was like, I'm ready for the apocalypse now. I'm ready to go. And I was like, oh, my God. So I messed with it. I was like, oh, my God, this is sharp. Like me poking it. I was like, oh, my God. Whoops. It was only $50. So I was like, oh, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's real.
Wow. That's awesome.
So Christina's like, I'm not allowed to get a real one because she knew I wanted it. And I was like, okay, here's a fake one.
Yeah. It's probably for the better.
But yeah, so lots of news to talk about. We'll save the most, I didn't think, I was planning on here just to come on here and talk about a movie. And then at like 10 o'clock last night.
Well, yeah, I knew Comic-Con was last night. So I figured part of our conversation today would be about that. That's kind of why I wanted to wait until Sunday.
Well, good, because I forgot. Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
So lots of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Spoiler, if you made it this far. Spoilers. If you haven't seen the new Ryan Reynolds movie and Hugh Jackman movie. So this is your warning. So the new Deadpool movie came out, and it's the first movie since the Marvels, I think.
Yes, it is the first.
The Marvels were.
MCU, well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say it was the first MCU project to release since the Marvels, but I believe Echo came out, which I didn't even actually watch Echo. That came out earlier this year. So.
I couldn't get into it. I tried. It's setting up for, Daredevil. It's just kind of the streets, Punisher's going to be bad. Like that's all it is. And it's unfortunate that it wasn't like hitting the ground. But we'll talk about all that, like Marvel and what their direction is. But yeah, that's first project. So I think everybody was super excited to get back to the theater and watch this. Overall, it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
Like, I went into it. This is the first time I just went into a Marvel movie, and like I knew there was rumors. Obviously, there's always going to be rumors because it's a multiverse, whatever. And I said, no. Like, this is a Deadpool movie. We know multiverse was involved because of Wolverine coming back, but I went into it saying this is a Deadpool movie. This is not a whatever, and it was fun. Like for once, I could sit back. Was never like, oh my God, what's gonna who's gonna pop in? Like, it was just sit back, enjoy Ryan Reynolds, who is hilarious. He's up there with Benedict Cumberbatch now. It has to be like, it was just fun. And I'm going to tell you this right now, that opening was the best opening I've seen ever.
I've been replaying that video in my head since.
Oh, so you want me to send it to you? It got leaked. It got leaked.
I might need you to. Honestly, I might need you to.
Yeah, I got leaked, and I showed Christina. I was like, "Look," and even she enjoyed the opening because she may never go watch it. So she's like, "Yeah, I'll look at it." And I showed it to her, and she goes, "Yep."
he nailed it. He nailed it. Oh my god,
that was my spoiler. I did a spoiler. I did pictures, and one of them was NSYNC's "Bye Bye Bye," and that was my.
So that was. Did you see the playlist that dropped?
Oh, great.
They dropped the playlist a few days before, and you could listen to the whole playlist on like Spotify or whatever. So that was already on there. So like, yeah, I mean, we knew what songs were going to be in the movie, but we didn't know like what they were going to be used for and all that stuff. Some of them were, some of them got the whole song. Some of them were just a short little sample. But yeah, as soon as I saw Bye Bye Bye, Iris, Goo Goo Dolls, The Greatest Show, like there were several songs that I just laughed as soon as I saw that they were somehow affiliated with this project. But yeah, the opening sequence, I mean, it's hard to top the Guardians of the Galaxy open like credits sequences with the music and how they use that stuff. But I think this one did. I think this topped it for sure. Even the Guardians 2 with Baby Groot dancing around while all the action's going around behind him. That's probably been my favorite up until this.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, just Deadpool killing people and dancing to Bye 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 was pretty great.
Even before that, because again, spoilers, how it started before that was like, let me back up. So after the movie, I came home and I rewatched the other Deadpool movies. I didn't do that beforehand because I knew that they really didn't have much to do with what was about to happen. But I rewatched them just to refresh my memory because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I forgot how good the first Deadpool was. Like I forgot how good it was.
It's a really good movie.
The second one's good, but it's not as good as the first one, I think. But I forgot how it starts. Like he has to back up and say, like, how did we get here? And like does that. So I love how he's like, how are we going to honor the Logan Wolverine and his memory? And he goes, we're not. And he just starts digging and then hits him. Like just that leading up to that was hilarious. And I'm like, oh, as soon as that happened, it refreshed my memory. And I said, okay, this is a Deadpool movie. This is not a whatever. And so when that happened, I said, okay, this is up there with Guardians of the Galaxy opening and Infinity War opening. I know it wasn't like enjoyable for the Infinity War opening, like picking up right where Thor left off and like show Thanos.
Yeah.
Like an entrance for Thanos, like, hey, here's Thanos. I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And then when he gets the claws and he looks at the camera and breaks the fourth wall like he always does, I'm like, this is awesome. And rewatching other Deadpool movies, when I got home, I said, yep, that was a Deadpool movie. This is not a Wolverine movie. This is not a whatever movie. This is Deadpool.
Correct. That's where I'm at with it too. I had a great time. I think all three Deadpool movies are hilarious. I like Ryan Reynolds as an actor. He's not my favorite. I think he's a fantastic marketer. He knows, I mean, that's obvious by his other endeavors. It's not just his movies. It's Mint Mobile and it's his soccer team and it's Skin and all these other things that he's out there promoting. He's excellent at that. And he is excellent at Deadpool. There are, I mentioned this to Allison the other night. There are a small number of actors that are like really willing to play these characters on a consistent basis off of the screen. Like the fact that Ryan Reynolds like does things unrelated to the movie in costume is like, that's great. Like Will Ferrell does that as Ron Burgundy. Like he'll show up at appearances like he did. I think he did the Brady roast as Ron Burgundy. And like, he does that it's like fairly regularly, but there are very few that do it. And he totally embodies that character. I mean, we wouldn't have Deadpool as a character on the screen like that if it wasn't for Ryan Reynolds. I think that his portrayal of that character is far and away one of the best superhero film versions of superheroes that we have. So yeah, I had a really good time. I had a really good time with the movie. It's obviously really funny. I thought Hugh Jackman was great.
Mm-hmm.
I've been excited about this ever since I remember where I was when when Ryan Reynolds dropped the teaser that I think it was it was in September of 2022, I think. I remember I was at the gym after work and I just saw this video like, oh, we're going to talk about Deadpool. And it's Ryan Reynolds talking about the movie and how, they've been working on it. Like he's in the suit and all this stuff. And ironically enough, that is the same house that the Taylor Swift All Too Well video was shot in. But and then at the end, he's like, I got nothing. We have nothing for a script, which come to find out, I think is actually true because now hearing them talk about it on the press tour, they didn't have anything. They had tried over and over and over again, him and the other writers and Sean Levy and Kevin Feige, and they didn't have anything until what ended up being about a month before that video was posted. I guess Hugh Jackman called Ryan and Sean and said, hey, I want to do this. And they're like, all right, let's roll with it.
Was that
that video was great. So ever since then, I've been excited for this movie.
Was that then what was the video where he's sitting there talking and Hugh Jackman's walking up the stairs?
That's the one. Yes.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you want to play Wolverine one more time?
Yes. At the end, he's like, we did have one idea. And then he says, hey, Hugh. And then he's like, do you want to play Wolverine one more time? Yeah, sure, Ryan. And then, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I had a great time. It's certainly not a perfect movie, and we can talk about some of the issues and everything because there are plenty.
Oh yeah.
But it is, as far as it's just a fun experience. It's a fun movie. It's a violent movie, but it's hilarious. And that's what you really want out of a Deadpool movie.
Well, and I love the jokes. I remember leading up to it, Ryan Reynolds, even on Spotify, you listen to a podcast, an advertisement comes and it's about Deadpool, and he goes, "We're gonna have fun at Disney's expense. We're gonna have fun at Fox's expense." Yep. And even at the beginning, where he's his roommate is like, "Let's do some cocaine." He goes, "Kevin Feige said there's one thing, no cocaine." And they start naming off all the things, and he goes, "They know all of it. They know it." And so those type of things are spoilers when they kill off that cameo character, and he goes, "He was killing our budget, so we have to do this." Those type of things, you're just that is Ryan. And again, it is Ryan Reynolds. He was on the show Hot Ones with Hugh Jackman, and he's eating it, and he goes, "I cheat at Wordle." I mean,
he's just really funny. He's just really funny, and I enjoy a lot of his projects. I really liked Free Guy. I know some people are kind of out on that movie. I had a great time with it.
We liked it. Both of us. Even Christina liked it. It was a good movie.
Allison liked it too. I've seen a lot of his stuff. The Adam Project I thought was fine.
The Christmas one I liked with him.
I really like Spirited. I also I like musicals, and those particular the guys that did the music for that, they did The Greatest Showman. They've done Dear Evan Hansen and a lot of other things that I really enjoy. And so I really like that movie as well. Him and Will Ferrell. So yeah, I mean I am a Ryan Reynolds fan, and I think I was probably expecting a little bit more from the movie, but we can get into some of those things. But I think it just as a Deadpool movie, that's what I will say. I'll just start it here. As a Deadpool movie, this movie works well.
Yes,
if this works as the third movie in a Deadpool trilogy.
Yes,
I do wish, for it being a Deadpool movie, that we would have spent more time with the other Deadpool characters, like his 9 family that he refers to throughout the movie. We get them at the very beginning and the very end, and that's it. We get none of those characters who have made the first 2 movies what they were. I'm not complaining for what we did get with all the Wolverine stuff and all the other cameos going into the void and all these things. That's fine. But I other than that, I think it works really well as a Deadpool movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it works really well as an MCU movie.
Yes, I thought that too.
Yep. It felt more like it felt more like, and this is ultimately what it was. This was a Deadpool movie with Fox or with Disney money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this was. This was a Deadpool movie with Disney money. And that's fine. You know, the other thing too about this, and something that I kind of forget because it doesn't affect me at all, but it's also R-rated. So they're not going to do as much MCU changing things in a movie that not everybody's going to be able to see, you know? So that's also something you have to consider when you go into a movie like this. Yeah, I probably was expecting a little bit more to happen. I was kind of disappointed with, not that the post-credit scene wasn't funny, but I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't, you know, setting something up, like giving us a little bit of information. Like there was really very little MCU connection to this movie. You know, we had the Jon Favreau cameo in the beginning. And then, you know, it takes place in the void. And like, so there's the whole connection to the TVA and to Loki and all these things. So like, it is there. It's very much inside the MCU. But as far as connecting it was really more of a love letter to the Fox universe, which is fine. I have no issues with that being what the movie is. But that is what it is. It's not. It's far less an MCU movie than it is, you know, closing the chapter on the Fox stuff.
Yeah, that's what I got from it was, hey, this is a transition from, hey, especially when you saw the Fox logo in the void, like done. Like it's like, hey, it's going from Fox, it's going now to Marvel and Disney. This is where we're moving to. And again, we talked about this before. I'm kind of tired of the multiverse stuff because we don't really have it. You know, No Way Home, glimpse of it. Multiverse of Madness, glimpse of it. Loki, you get a glimpse of it from like time travel.
Yeah.
This one, the only time you look at multiverse stuff is when he's jumping around trying to find Wolverine, which again, hilarious. You get, you know, different Wolverines from the comic books that they pop up. That's it. You could say whatever about the void. That's not multiverse. That's that area where nothing happens. And the cameo characters, I guess you could say multiverse, whatever. But I'm getting kind of tired of the multiverse stuff. So I was wondering if that was going to pop up in here.
Bad news for you, Steve.
I know, but like, it's not going the way that I wanted it to go.
I am with you on the multiverse thing. We've talked about this before on this show, and I've talked about this on other shows and with other people, but we have been teasing and getting glimpses at this stuff for several movies now. And for the most part, it hasn't really worked. You know, like Spider-Man No Way Home was a really fun movie. And I'm glad that we got that movie. We got that experience. We got all three Spider-Men together. We got all those villains. Like that was a cool experience. So for that part, it worked. I think it kind of worked for Multiverse of Madness. I know you and I know where you stand on Multiverse of Madness. Like I don't dislike that movie.
It just didn't do what we thought
it didn't do what we thought it was going to do, you know? And then we got Quantum Mania, which, okay, we're going to dive into this stuff. No, that entire movie took place in a, like, literally, it was as small scale as possible. So yeah, I kept thinking at some point we're going to get more of this. And at this point, I'm over it. Like I've seen this. I've seen DC do this with The Flash. I've seen the animated Spider-Verse do this. I've seen the MC. I'm over it. But now, like, it's definitely coming. Like that's all we're going to be getting for the next, both Avengers movies that are coming in, you know, the next 4 years, are going to be multiverse movies. So like maybe at that point it stops, but yeah, that's not what this movie was, other than, yeah, as you said, him. Let's just, you know, kind of start at the beginning here. That was, I think, one of the most confusing parts to me. And, you know, it wasn't a great story. Like, let's just lay it out there. Like, I think the weakest part of the whole movie was its story.
Yeah.
That kind of happens sometimes when you have 5 writers working on a project. The more writers that are involved, usually the lesser the project is. I don't think they did a very good job of like explaining some of this stuff. Like we knew after Deadpool 2 that he had Cable's time thing, so he was able to travel back in time. I didn't realize that meant he could hop universes.
I didn't either. When that happened, I was like, wait. So when I thought he was a part of the regular Earth 616. You know,
right? That's what I didn't understand. Is like, so you're from this other Fox universe, but now you're talking with Happy Hogan in 616. That part wasn't explained. At least I didn't catch it. And again, I've only seen the movie the one time. I saw it Thursday night. So maybe they did a better job of explaining it than I remember. But I just remember because I was very confused because they also specifically show the date.
Yeah.
Of when he is there talking to Happy, which I knew it was 2018. So I was thinking in my mind, like this has got to be before the snap.
I think it was after Civil War, before.
I think it was right before the snap. I think is what it was ultimately. Because the snap happens in 2018 and then it's 5 years later and Endgame is supposed to be taking place in 2023. That's the Marvel canon, I believe. So I think that conversation that he has with Happy Hogan is supposed to be taking place right before. And I've watched a couple other people talk about this and they kind of explain it a little better. I think it was New Rockstars that was talking about it. If you think back to the MCU in like right before the snap, like the Avengers were scattered. So like if Deadpool, if Wade Wilson universe hops to 616 and goes to Avengers headquarters, at that particular time, it's very possible that like none of them are there because Steve and Nat and Sam Wilson are off doing their thing, and Wanda and Vision are off globetrotting and all these things. So like I think they did that well, but I just don't think it was explained very well as to why that was happening, how he could do that, all that stuff.
Yeah, the only thing I caught was when they brought him to the TV and he said something about like, "Is this about this watch and jumping all over the place? I destroyed it. I did it, and then I was done."
Yeah.
So I think that's the only catch maybe there. Like he's like, "I destroyed it. It's done."
Yeah.
But like you said, it wasn't explained well that he could jump to a universe. Like we saw it at the end of Deadpool 2 where he changed the time travel, which again, their time travel is different than Endgame because in their time travel is like Back to the Future where you change something in the future, the past changes. Then Endgame's like, no, that's not.
Well, and I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, he does. It's a very meta movie, but like, there's also that one clip where he goes back and kills Ryan Reynolds before he signs on to do Green Lantern. So like, again, very meta, but like if you have to think of it from from like a logistical standpoint, like, okay, maybe that was him universe hopping. Like actually, I mean, the rest of the stuff all takes place within universe. He goes back, he saves Vanessa, he goes back and finds, Logan, in the past and their past interaction. So I don't know. Deadpool. So Allison and I went back and rewatched all the X-Men movies the past few months leading up to this, including the Deadpools. And the thing that you have to keep in mind, and that, both of us I hadn't seen every X-Men movie, and she hadn't seen a lot of them either. And she kept like asking all these questions. And what I had to continue to remind her is that the MCU, as we know it, did so well with their story from start to finish, with continuity, other than the occasional recasting, and it happened very few times for 20-something movies. The continuity was pretty remarkable, what they were able to do. Like, that's unheard of. Nobody's doing that for 20-some movies. The X-Men universe has never been like that. Like, they say it kind of takes place on the same timeline, and then they do like, they have the original trilogy, and then they bring in the new group, the younger group. It's supposed to be like the prequel, but like they're also changing things, and it doesn't totally make sense. And then we get to Days of Future Past, and they kind of like course correct things. And then Deadpool's kind of been there. It's supposed to be in that same universe, but it never has really made sense as to where Deadpool sits in that timeline, in that universe. Because like it's supposed to be taking place in current day. So that would really probably be with like the older X-Men, like the original, I guess.
They kind of said that.
But then in Deadpool 2, they have that little shot where it's the new class, the younger class. That's I don't know. So there's not a lot of like consistency and continuity amongst the X-Men Fox movies,
which is why I didn't take as much.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Even though I like I said, I complained about how they described time travel in Deadpool 2, but I'm like, wait a minute, this is not the MCU. So like MCU's trying to. That's why when he said, "Hey, in your universe, Logan died," so it's like, okay, so you are in that universe. So I know Kevin Feige and them are like, "Hey, we can't go back and fix 10 movies and try to." The only way we can do it is try our best to try to tie them together a little bit, and kind of go about it that way. And then you hear from like when he's universe hopping, they all are very similar about how the X-Men are and everything else. So he's trying to tie it in. I was like, hey, they're very similar in all universes. It's just, but they can't fix everything. So that part I took with a grain of salt. I am glad that they admitted that Deadpool's in the same universe as the X-Men and the Logan dying. And that was a big question mark of, okay, you're bringing Wolverine back. What about the one that died? Is this a different universe? And so there was theories to this movie, but not all the theories seemed to be Wolverine. Like, how's that tie in? And then the other rumors were, is he going to interact with our current MCU characters?
Yeah.
Which he did not, besides Happy, and that's it.
Yeah, that was it. There wasn't much. There's the one character from Loki that came back. The woman at the end, who was
she was in the trailer, and I'm like, she did not play a big part at all. Like, so I don't.
She's hardly in it. But yeah, I mean, that was really it. There wasn't much MCU. There was the one cameo that we thought was MCU related.
I knew it was too good to be true.
And and that was honestly that was perfect. We'll talk about that. But real quick, I was thinking about this the other night. Other than the cameos, which there were several and they were great, is there anything about this movie you can really spoil?
There's only 2 cameos I think you could spoil that were huge.
Sure, I think one of them was already in the one of them was in the last trailer. Let's just talk about them. X-23, Laura, the Daphne Keene's character from Logan, was in the last trailer they dropped, which I did not watch. I just hate watching trailers. I will watch the first trailer when it comes out. I don't want to see anything else. I've said this for years. I just don't. I want to go in as blind as possible. So I did not even watch the most recent trailers. But she was in that. Jennifer Garner as Elektra has been circling. That's been kind of known for a while. She hasn't been in any of the material, but for that information has been out there that she was in this movie. So those were kind of known. However, I think after that, though, I think there was really 3, not counting Happy. I don't really think we need to count Happy Hogan. But the Chris Evans reveal was fantastic. Mm-hmm. No pun intended. He shows up and Deadpool gets excited because it's Captain America.
He's gonna say it.
And did you notice? I mean, this had to be intentional, but whatever he's wearing,
it had the red, white, and blue right there.
It looked red. Yeah. And maybe that was obviously intentional. And I don't know that it actually was, but he definitely thought that was going to be a different version of Steve Rogers. And then Wade gets excited about it. And, he says flame on, which was great. I really loved that, that deep cut. So that was big. And then the other 2 were, Wesley Snipes, Blade. And
that one I was excited. As soon as he walked in, I was like, no way.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then Channing Tatum playing Gambit in a role that he had been earmarked for and been working on for a number of years that ultimately just never happened. Which I didn't even remember all of that story. So I was kind of confused at the time why this was happening. But after reading about it, remembering, oh yeah, okay, that was the thing. So yeah, those were the other big 3. Other than that, I don't think there was much to spoil in this movie. I
thought there was going to be when they when the camera's showing that area, did you see Scarlet Witch's thing above their head?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's the same Scarlet Witch statue thing from Multiverse of Madness when she's
okay.
It showed that, then it showed footwork, and that for a split second I said there is no way this is Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
For a second. So if you go back and look at the pictures, it's above.
Yep.
But then it shows, Jennifer Gardner, and it was cool to see her, but like I wasn't like, oh my god, it's Jennifer Gardner.
No.
But when Wesley Snipes walked in, I was like,
that was big.
That was a huge moment. And then the best joke of all time was there's only one blade, and then Deadpool looks at the camera like,
we're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna tell him. There was one other one that I honestly like. Had he not commented, it happened so quickly. The Henry Cavill Wolverine. That happened so quick that I didn't even process who it was until Deadpool makes a comment, and then so I'm in my mind, I'm trying to remember like how it all played out. But like I had he not said the Cavalrine or whatever he said, I wouldn't have caught it. But that was in there too, so that was pretty cool. But
I mean, you're right. There really is no, besides Chris Evans and Wesley Snipes. I guess those are the two big spoilers.
Besides and Taylor Swift is not in the movie.
And Taylor Swift is not in the movie. Besides those, you're right. I don't think there's really any spoilers in this movie, which was awesome because then they could keep it well hidden. Like they kept it well hidden. I mean, I am kind of surprised Wesley Snipes wasn't leaked somehow, but
they did a good job.
And he did the fight.
And Chris Evans. I think both of those keeping both of those under wraps was, and maybe it's because they were, they just were in that one location and they were probably only there for a couple days, and they were probably able to do it pretty easily. Like the Spider-Man stuff, but we were hearing those rumors and things for a long time.
Well, they had to do
Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
They had to do reshoots too,
like that. Yeah. So whatever they did with the Deadpool stuff, they did a good job of keeping it under wraps.
There was a rumor that, and I don't know, again, I'd have to find out, something about how Kane was supposed to be not the villain in this movie, but like referenced or something, and they had to redo it because of the whole situation, recasting him, like, because it's the Void and it's connected to all that. So there was a rumor going around that like they would show him or like he was referenced. And so they had to redo some of it. So I don't know if they added cameos because of like, oh, he's not here, we have to get rid of it. And
I don't know.
But yeah, there is really no spoilers to the movie besides that.
And that's probably not a great thing. I think it's just kind of, again, it goes back to the story. It's just not a lot happens in this movie.
I did get confused on Kevin Feige's statement of if Infinity War and Endgame were a 9 and a 10 of impact of the MCU, he said Deadpool was an 8.
Yeah.
And so when I went into it,
it's bullshit. It is.
That's why I didn't know, because the other big rumor was with Doctor Strange's circle was, are they jumping into like Infinity War? Are they jumping into whatever? And as the movie's happening, I was like, they're not. Like, this is not happening.
No, I think there were several things that happened in the movie just so that they could put them in the trailer to get people more excited. I think that is one of them. Well, that was an absolute gimmick just to get people excited. And I'm sure it was also partly Ryan Reynolds just wanting to jump through that portal and all this stuff. So like part of it was whatever, but
we did get 3 seconds of Hulk. 3 seconds.
Yeah, the back of him. And there's the ongoing Thor joke, Thor reference that never paid off.
Why is he crying?
I'm assuming that will pay off in a future movie, but I don't know what that'll be and when. So yeah, I mean, there were certainly MCU references, and we got glimpses of people and things. So it clearly takes place in the MCU. Like that is undoubtedly it does. It's not like this isn't the great X-Men launching point for the MCU. Like this is just a Deadpool movie taking place in this other universe. So,
fuck you, Fox. I'm going to Disney.
That was great. The whole "I'm going to Disneyland" thing was wonderful. That made me laugh so hard.
I'm Marvel Jesus.
It was good. No, I again, the story was fairly weak, and it didn't quite pay off in ways that I was hoping it would. But I had a good time with it. I thought Hugh Jackman was fantastic. I thought that I enjoyed the cameos. We haven't even talked about the villain, Emma Corrin's character. I can't even remember what, Cassandra Nova. I thought that character was fine, and I thought the performance was fine. I just don't know that it was necessary. I think you could have found a way to tell the same story without that character. And that's not to say that I didn't want the character in the movie, but if you can tell the same story and take the main villain out of it, then it's probably not a great story. Yeah, and I just don't know how important that character was to the grand scheme of things.
The only purpose she made was getting them out, which they could have done for 5 minutes. She could have been on the screen for 5 minutes, if that.
Yeah, again,
got them back.
Again, not the best script the MCU has had. So,
no,
but still, it was a fun time. It was strong performances. Love the dog stuff. I guess it maybe went on a little too long, but I love the soundtrack. I think it was a little overkill. The soundtrack it's like they dug into Logan's Spotify playlist. Like they had my number on that playlist, and I still thought it was too much. I love the Goo Goo Dolls. I love the song Iris. Do we really need this song popping up at this? Is this what we're doing? I don't know. The needle drops, I think, were a little too much. As much as I love the songs and love the music, and I thought they were funny, just felt a little overkill.
Yeah, I do love the comic book Wolverine. He's on all fours running around.
That was cool.
The mask at the end when he puts it on, and
I don't think it looked that good though. It was cool when he put it on, and we got the moment. But then he spends the last 30 minutes with it on, and it looks weird.
Yeah, but again, it went from good story, the fight scene between those two was awesome.
Yep,
the fight scene in the van,
I loved the van scene.
Love that. And then
did you put two and two together that was kind of like a sex scene?
Yes, I did.
It didn't really dawn on me until I was listening to somebody else talk about it on a podcast. I'm like, I thought it really kind of was a sex scene.
I didn't think about it until Ryan Reynolds, when they had that small break, he goes, "Oh, the Honda does fuck hard," and I'm like, "Okay, this is a
yeah." I loved that, and doing it to "You're the One That I Want." Hugh Jackman is big Olivia Newton-John fan, so that was pretty funny. I felt teased when that was I think that was the one glimpse of The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, when he was hitting the radio, and then
somebody else said it played later, but I don't know that that's true. The
fight scene with all the other Deadpools was awesome. I started laughing when Wolverine's fighting him and he's pushing Wolverine into them. Those moments, you're like, okay, this is good. And then you have the story part, and you're like, okay, this is a bit clunky. This is a bit, and then it felt like with the cameos, it's almost like, okay, who's going to pop in next? And I hate that. I hate who's going to pop in next. Who's going to, Spider-Man No Way Home did it perfectly. Okay, we found Peter Parker. There he is. And all of a sudden it's Andrew Garfield. And you're like, oh my God. And
this isn't a slight. And I know how you feel about it, but this is very similar to Multiverse of Madness. This is, as far as multiversal implications and with the cameos and everything, kind of the expectations were a little higher than what they should have been. Still solid, still a good MCU movie. This one is still a good, hilarious Deadpool movie, but very similar to that movie. Takes place in a different universe or whatever. The fun cameos that got people going. They were really just there for a little chunk in the middle. Very, very similar to what they did with Multiverse of Madness. For better or for worse. It's very similar to what they did with that movie.
And then again, no fault to us, but then we always wonder, how does this fit in with the rest of it? And then I waited till the end because I wanted to see if it said Deadpool will return, like they always do.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
And it never did. I sat there till like the end, and it never said Deadpool will return, which I assume he will. I assume he'll come back when they get to the Avengers stuff. But like, then you get a little worried. You're like, is this just a movie to say mutants are coming to the MCU and that's it? They're done with Deadpool and stuff, which I doubt. But
I don't know if they knew what they were going to do. I think that's part of the next discussion I think we need to have here. I don't think they know what they're doing. And I haven't thought that for a while. I don't think that Hugh Jackman had any plans to put the suit back on, and he did it. I think that Kevin Feige would love to have Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as a part of their next Avengers movies. I think they would kill for that. But I don't think they know that that's going to happen. They just now figure out who's going to direct these movies and who's going to write these movies.
Do you think that's because they had too much going on and now they've taken a step back?
Yeah.
And
too much garbage.
Too much garbage and too much going on. They put too much focus on those TV shows because Disney.
They didn't have a choice, though. That's the thing. That came from above. That came from Iger and Chapek and everybody saying we had this streaming service. We have to fill with Marvel projects. So start cranking out as much stuff as you can. So yeah, I think the whole product has been watered down, and I don't think they really. And I was again another thing from last night that we'll talk about. I was surprised by the lack of information that we got. And I'm sure they're saving some stuff for D23. Yes, they got, okay. Are we done with the Deadpool conversation?
We're done with the Deadpool conversation. Okay. They had Comic-Con last night and they said there was only be 3 movies talked about. And then.
Yeah. So they give us information on the 3 movies we know are coming. The 3 movies next year. Captain America, Brave New World, the Sam Wilson movie with Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Ross, Red Hulk. So we got more information on that. Cool. Then they do the Thunderbolts again, coming out next year. We know this movie's been shot, done. Now they're working on post. We already know who's in this movie. Got a little bit of information on that. Cool, done. We still don't know what the asterisk is for, which I have a theory on that. And then we got Fantastic Four stuff. Again, cast was there. Cool. They showed some stuff from that. Awesome. We already knew we were getting 2 Avengers movies. Now, yes, the Avengers announcement was huge. They're changing it from Kang Dynasty to Doomsday. It's going to be about Dr. Doom. And yes, our Lord and Savior, Robert Downey Jr., is going to be Dr. Doom. We'll talk about that as well. But other than Doomsday and Secret Wars, we got nothing else. So we know the 3 movies that are coming out next year, but other than those 3 movies, Blade is still technically maybe happening.
It's never happening.
But we got nothing on a Doctor Strange movie. We got nothing on Armor Wars. We got nothing on anything related to Eternals. Shang-Chi. We had not heard anything about a Shang-Chi sequel. I don't know. I was surprised last night from the lack of information. They had the big reveal, which I'm sure that's what everybody's going to talk about. If that's fine, we can talk about it as well. But that was it.
And then what's the next thing?
That's why I'm concerned. I don't think they know what they're doing.
So I have a couple things on that. Now, Agatha's coming out at the end of the year, right?
TV show, September.
Okay. So I think that's the only thing coming up next besides Daredevil next spring or whatever it's coming out.
Maybe.
Well, they're filming it but they're trying to do 20 some episodes and each episode's going to be an hour. Like that's going to take forever.
It's ridiculous
to film. But I think Kevin Feige's getting a rein back on it because of the lack of information is my hope. I think he is getting the reins pulled back on it, saying this is what's happened. He either is going to cancel projects and say this is not going to work anymore and we can't do this because it's taken away from the storytelling that we did so well with from when did Iron Man come out? 2008? From 2008 to 2019 with Endgame or 2018 with Endgame. Like it's the storytelling we did. And they started off strong with No Way Home. I thought that was great. And then it just kind of, that's when all the TV shows were coming out and that's when all this was happening. And And if you look at the TV shows, the only one that has held its ground is Loki. Like, that's the only one for 2 seasons that has kind of held its ground a little bit. But I think Kevin Feige's getting a rein back on it. You could tell he's just listen to him talk even last night. He's a little frustrated, I think, because he's like, we got to get a rein pulled back on this and try to get it back together. And I think that's why you're seeing so many people leave Blake's. I think he's done. He's like, we got to get a rein pulled back.
Yeah.
Russo brothers are back for that, which was huge.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to have a say in the other movies, even though they're not directing them. I guarantee you they are involved with the storytelling of how they're going to lead up to these Avengers behind the scenes. So don't be surprised if we see projects get pulled, even if they've been filmed. Don't be surprised if he cancels them. Don't be surprised if we don't see as much, which I'm fine with. I am to the point now where, oh, you're going to give us Agatha and Daredevil and then like 2 movies or whatever. Cool. That's all we need. We don't need 5 TV shows and 4 movies. Like, I think he's getting a rein, and that's just my theory, is that he's put his foot down, hopefully, and said, hey, we got to change this up a little bit to bring that back in. But yeah, I think at one point they don't know where they're going. And I know the Robert Downey Jr. thing is supposed to put a Band-Aid on it of like, hey, we kind of know where we're going. I think with the Russo brothers coming back and them being involved, hopefully they get it back. And Sean Levy directed Deadpool. I think he'll be involved. I thought he directed it great. Like, I thought, whatever. But I hope they figured out what they're doing. And maybe that's why they're taking their time revealing what they're going to do to make sure that it's going to piece together the best they can.
Yeah.
That's just...
I think all of the studios have learned the last few years that the streaming model just doesn't work like they thought it was going to. When I say they all, Disney, the Hulu thing, HBO with Max, Warner with Max, Peacock, like they've all learned that what works and what doesn't. And cranking out so much content just to fill your streaming service isn't the way to go.
No.
Like, you can do that with certain things, yes, but for properties as valuable as the Marvel stuff and the Star Wars stuff, it doesn't work. They were trying to do so much over a short period of time, and everything was watered down. I do think that I do agree with you. I do think Kevin Feige is trying to get a grip on things again. I'm sure he has had the conversations with Bob Iger and the higher ups at Disney, basically saying this is too much. And Iger has said it, like, this was a mistake. We're not going to do this. So yes, I do think having only one movie coming out this year, sandwiched between 2 TV shows at the beginning and the end of the year, it's going to slow things down. They have 3 movies on the docket for next year, plus whatever TV show they are ready to roll with, which again could be Daredevil, but who knows? I still think 3 movies in a year. I still think that's a little much. I wish they would honestly just give us 2, but they're on some sort of schedule now. I find it hard to believe that I don't know. I think you're right, and I hadn't thought about it yet until you mentioned it. The Russos might have more say over this stuff now. Joe and Anthony Russo directed 4 of the most successful MCU movies to date. Captain America, Winter Soldier, and don't forget, these are guys that came from the world of TV.
Mm-hmm.
They directed episodes of Community, and they directed the movie You, Me, and Dupree. So he brings them in to direct this Captain America sequel, this spy espionage thriller. It's a fantastic movie.
Yep.
It's one of the best movies the MCU's ever done. So they said, all right, come back and do Civil War. Fantastic movie. Like, Civil War did what Avengers Age of Ultron couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it very well. So they're like, all right, come back and do our Avengers movies. Infinity War and Endgame are 2 of the top 3 or 4 MCU movies to date. Some of the best superhero movies ever. 2 of the most highest grossing movies ever. So when they did those 4 movies, they said, all right, we are done. We are emotionally spent. We want to move on. We want to do our other things. Cool. Good for you. The MCU is probably going to be in great hands. That was not true.
They went on to do Extraction.
They went on to do terrible things. Their Extraction is fine as an action movie, but like their other projects have been hot garbage. That's the other thing too.
But like I think Extraction was one of the first things they did, and I love those.
Did they direct that though, or did they just like produce it?
Oh, I don't know. I just know they were there.
I don't know. They were involved. I'm saying the rest of their movies have not been good that they have done.
No.
So I think both the Russo thing and the Robert Downey Jr. thing, I think it reeks of desperation. I think it feels like a complete Hail Mary to try and score a big W with the fans, to try to get in the conversation again. I mean, and this is a strategic move. They have a huge weekend with Deadpool. I read yesterday it's the 5th highest grossing opening day movie ever. 5th. Behind only like 2 Avengers movies, a Star Wars movie, and I don't remember what the other one was. Like the 5th. It's R-rated. It's the 5th highest grossing opening day ever. Like this is a huge weekend for them. So they're just trying to like capitalize on whatever momentum they can get. So they're going to be like, all right, I don't know how it's going to work, but by God, we're going to bring Robert Downey Jr. back to the MCU. We're going to get everybody talking about us again. We're going to bring in the Russos. I hope it all works out. And I don't really have any reason to believe that it won't work out. But the whole thing, it just feels a little gimmicky. And I'm for it. I'm excited about it. So speaking of the Robert Downey Jr. thing, I was watching this stuff, like the live tweets and stuff throughout the event, but I wasn't like watching videos and listening to things. So when I saw Downey, I kind of interpreted this as he is going to play a different variant of Tony Stark.
Uh-huh.
They're just going to scrap the Victor Von Doom thing. The different variant of Tony Stark breaks bad and he becomes Dr. Doom, which makes sense to me, sort of. I mean, I'm sure comic book people, I'm not a comic book fan. I just watch the movies. I'm sure comic book people would hate that. Like, that makes no sense. But they actually said, whichever Russo brother was that introduced him, actually said he's playing Victor Von Doom. That's the part that I don't love. That's the part where I'm like, okay, well, you see, like it's one thing for, Michael Keaton to have played Batman and Vulture, but those are 2 different universes. There's no connection between those things. Like you're talking about Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, and what will inevitably happen in Avengers Secret Wars, you're going to have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man fighting Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom. That's the part that I don't love and totally understand where they're going to go with it.
So, because it's funny, a football coach sent me a message last night. And he said, "Hey, I have a theory on this whole Robert Downey Jr. thing."
I love a good theory. And
I said, "Lay it on me." Here was his message to me. He said, "In the comics, Doom can travel between universes.
Sure.
Tony Stark / Doom is from Laturvia in his Earth, someplace in his Earth.
Sure.
He rises to power using his genius and narcissism and takes control of this place. Doom is the title given to the leader of this place. So when you become the leader, that becomes your new name.
Right.
Doom he learns about his variant sacrifice, Tony Stark, and decides humanity wasn't grateful enough for him. And that's where he becomes involved." And I said, okay, that's a great theory. Because that exactly your point was, is this Tony Stark or is this just a different person? Like in Spider-Man, like, is it just a different person?
Exactly.
So this coach we were talking, he's hoping that that's what it is that he is Tony Stark, but he is different. And then he becomes this person because in our universe, he chooses the right path and becomes Iron Man. Right. So in this universe, does he go to the left and become Doom?
And that's the only way I can really see it working and making sense. if he is just flat out Victor Von Doom, like they had introduced him to be, that doesn't add up to me. That doesn't really, like, I'm cool with it if they want to change the Victor Von Doom to not. If they want to change Doctor Doom to just be Tony Stark, cool. I'm in. I'm sold. I hate the multiverse and all the variant shit, but like, okay, fine. That I can at least see a path for that. I don't see a path for this other route they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We know nothing. And again, the Russos were really just signed on to do this movie within the last couple of weeks. So the Robert Downey Jr. thing had to come. That had to be pretty quickly. I had seen a couple things about this a few days ago, but I didn't really believe it. I didn't think this was really a thing.
I didn't see anything about Robert Downey Jr. playing him.
I had seen a couple people talking about it, and there's actually a YouTuber that I follow, Nando V Movies. You should give him a follow. He theorized about this several months ago in a video he did, and I want to go back and watch it again now that I've seen it, because I think there's things you can do with it. I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, I saw some people criticizing Downey for, you know, hopping back on the money train after winning an Oscar and all these things. I'm like, just let the man do what he wants to do. Like, at this point, they're just going to be funneling all the Magic Kingdom profits into his bank account anyway. Like, who cares? Like, you know, if he wants to come back and make us, he's a fantastic actor. I was in the camp that he should have got an Oscar for his work in Endgame. And I meant that. So like, if he wants to do this, fine. I don't have an issue with it. I don't know that I'm going to love it if he's just a flat out a different person. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But
no, I really hope that this coach is right, because that makes more sense to me. Is that
if he's Tony Stark, if he's a different variant of Tony Stark, it makes sense. But if he's playing a different person altogether, that doesn't add up. Sure, I can understand how Reed Richards would look different in two different universes. In this universe, he resembles John Krasinski. In this universe, he resembles Pedro Pascal. Yeah. Okay, that can make sense to me. But if you have the same person that resembles Tony Stark, that looks like both, or that resembles Robert Downey Jr., that looks like both Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom, that, again, this is all just like stupid comic book logic. Comic books also like reboot their stories all the time. So like multiverse stuff, it is what it is. That's the part that I think I'm having a little trouble with.
I think that's the path they'll go down, because they've already set it up because of Spider-Man No Way Home. You have these Spider-Mans that look different, but they're the same, going through the same things. Now they have different things going on in their universes, but that's similar. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. They jump to a different universe. There's Wanda. She's different. She has kids. There's Doctor Strange. This Doctor Strange killed Thanos. This Doctor Strange destroyed his universe. And so I think hopefully that's what it will happen is. And because of Tony Stark's comment, he said, different mask, same task. And so maybe this will be a story of Robert Downey Jr. or Tony Stark in our universe. He took the right path and said, when he gets bombed, you know, and it's the first movie, he took the path of, I'm going to be good. I'm going to try to save people. But this coach also made a good point. He goes, I hope they just don't introduce him as Tony Stark as this new guy named Doom, his alter ego, you know, but show us how he got there. Like, spend some time showing us how he got there. Does that mean it's a whole movie? Does that mean Avengers Doomsday is going to be 3.5 hours long and they got to introduce how he got there? Don't pull the Multiverse of Madness where we have no idea how, you know, Scarlet Witch became Scarlet Witch. Like, we have an idea, but it didn't really show how she became that person and how she started to think those thoughts. And like, you know, so I do think very positively that it's Tony Stark, just instead of doing the Iron Man mask to be a good person, he's going to go this route and want vengeance and do this. And he becomes Dr. Doom. So I really hope that comment of different mask, same task. I'm hoping the same task is I'm still Tony Stark. I'm still going to be narcissistic. I'm still going to be this, but I have different, you know, viewpoints.
We'll see. It's obviously exciting. I mean, you know, I loved his performance in these movies, and I'm glad he's coming back. I definitely have reservations about it, but that's 2026. God, that's already 2026. Holy crap.
I thought it was so far away, but I'm like, oh, they do.
It's
They have
not. You're literally looking at 3 movies next year, and then I would guess something coming out in like February of 2026 before it. So you might get 4 more movies before then.
And I also want this to happen again.
I mean, I think it's possible. I'm kind of shocked that we don't have more information about another Strange movie. Part of me just thinks that after Secret Wars, they should just wipe it all clean. But if that's the case, then like we're not going to get some of these other movies like I was hoping we would. So, and I saw another thing. I don't want to keep diving into this. I saw something that said at this point they're probably just going to bring back the original Avengers and let them do it. And honestly, Steve, I kind of hate that. Like I'm already expecting a lot of these characters to pop up in Secret Wars. I really think that's what we're going to get. I think I won't be shocked at all if Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner are back for these movies. I would not be surprised at all if we see X-Men. That's fine. I'm expecting that. But if the main story is going to be about those main Avengers, that doesn't excite me. Like you've had all this time to build up a new group of Avengers, you build up a new core, and you haven't done it. Like you haven't even like attempted to. And I understand like COVID happened. One of your largest, biggest stars died. Like there are things that have happened that like they were out of their control, and that sucks. And I get that, but like you have had other successful projects since then. Like by this point, you could have built up a team already of like who these characters are. I do think that Captain America: Brave New World and Thunderbolts are going to lay the groundwork for the next Avengers team. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Sam Wilson will be involved in putting this group together and whatever. But like you've had all this time. Like you have Doctor Strange out there. You have Benedict Cumberbatch, who's a huge star. You still have Tom Holland out there with, there's all the Sony things, but like there is opportunities here. Like you can make this stuff happen. There are more than enough. You have Shang-Chi, who you haven't touched since his very successful movie. You have all these people you could have toyed with and let us know like what's going on. And they haven't done it. So like if they are really just going to make another movie where the main characters are going to be the same 5 Avengers from 20 years ago, like that's kind of annoying, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
It's frustrating. You have all these other characters you can play with, but like you don't even want to attempt to try it. Like you're just ready to throw in the towel and be like, all right, bring all the dead ones back. Let's just do this again. And again, I'm already expecting them to come back, but in more of a Avengers Endgame level thing where like every character is there for like the final battle. That's what I'm expecting. I
mean, only Thor's out there. Like that's the only one that's really out there is Thor.
Hulk is still there. Bruce Banner is still around.
Which that TV show was a flop.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but like from a storytelling standpoint, you could have easily built up a new team. Yes, some of these movies and shows were flops, but like, I don't know. I could see Jennifer Walters being a part of some sort of team. Where she doesn't have to be the lead character. Like you could have done this stuff by now, and they just haven't done it. Again, they're going to have to. If you have an Avengers movie coming out in 2026, you have to be building this team up. So like we are going to get that in Captain America and the Thunderbolts for sure.
Which a long time ago on an episode, after Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, you had a very good theory and it would have worked, and they haven't done it yet, was Doctor Strange sees the threats out there in Multiverse of Madness, so he's like the new Tony Stark, where he goes around, or Wong, either one.
That's what Wong's been doing.
And
Wong has showed up in nearly every project, but like it's not come from anywhere. I mean, you have enough characters out here. I think, assuming they don't just dig into the past and dig up all the old corpse of the old characters, you have a team that could look something like Sam Wilson, Captain America. You have You have all the Thunderbolts who aren't really villains. Like some of them are kind of villains, but like Yelena's going to be involved in this. Like she is the new Black Widow. Florence Pugh is a huge star. Like she will be a part of the next Avengers team. I think they're probably done with Paul Rudd, maybe, but like he's still out there. Apparently, we're getting a Armor Wars movie, so like Rhodey's, I guess, still in the picture. But you have Shang-Chi, you have Spider-Man, you have Shuri, you have, who knows? Wanda may or may not be dead. I don't know. There's Doctor Strange. There's more than enough stuff out here. Whatever route you want to go, I don't know. But they should have done it a long time ago. They didn't.
No, that's the only part I was excited about the Robert Downey stuff. And the more I was staying up last night, the more I thought about all that you said.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do? And when that coach sent me that, I was like, okay, hopefully they go by the comics then and say, this is his alter ego. The only time you should dig into and Star-Lord's out there. He's on planet Earth. Like he is on Earth and it said he's going to return. Like it said Star-Lord will return. So you have Guardians of the Galaxy people out there still.
Yeah.
And like, I'm okay bringing them all back in one of these Avengers movies. If they pop up.
Yeah. I don't want I like the Avengers team when it's like a smaller group.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want more than like 8 people as a part of this team. Like Avengers Endgame was great because it like capped off this whole thing. But like those aren't all Avengers. Like that's just literally every Marvel character you have in your arsenal. They're not Avengers. Like an Avengers team should be like no more than like 8 or 10 people. And so that's what I want to see in Doomsday. Now they've already said the Fantastic Four is going to be a part of it. I have a hard time believing that Deadpool won't be a part of it. Maybe Wolverine's going to be a part of it. But like, as I said, Sam Wilson, Thor, Doctor Strange, probably either Hulk or She-Hulk. I think both could be a part of this. Maybe Ant-Man, Shang-Chi. Like there's enough Spider-Man. There's enough people out there to like form whatever team this is going to be. But I don't think it needs to be just like every character under the sun needs to be involved in this movie.
What's your theory on the Thunderbolts asterisk?
I've felt for a while they're going to change it to Dark Avengers. I don't know that at this point. I don't know why. Like, why would you wait so long to do this? I just think it's weird. Like, I said something on Twitter, and Craig Choate commented back and said I said, just tell me what the asterisk is for, and he said it's steroids. Asterisk. I felt for a while that this was going to be Dark Avengers, but at this point, like, why would you wait till now to change it? I don't know. I just think it's weird because he didn't even address it. Like he was asked about it last night. He didn't even say what it's about. So, like, what's the point? Like, are we waiting till after Captain America to change the name of this or to address the asterisk? Like, I don't know. I think it's Dark Avengers, but
that's a good theory. The only theory wait so long. That's a great theory. The only one I had was he's just going to call it Thunderbolts and give it another title underneath. Like I didn't know.
It could be, but I mean, it obviously has. The reason that we haven't seen the full title for this movie has to do with something we haven't seen yet in a movie, which we've already seen Deadpool. So it's got to be Brave New World, which doesn't come out until February. So is this movie just not going to have we're just not going to get its full title until, I don't remember. Well, we didn't get the Endgame title until after Infinity War, but there was at least a year between.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be a year between Captain America and Thunderbolts. There's going to be like 2 months. So I don't know. I think it's odd. I think it's a strange choice, whatever they're doing, but that's been my theory all along, is that it's Dark Avengers, but I don't know what the point is.
Deadpool and Wolverine grosses $438 million in opening weekend at the worldwide box office. It's the biggest opening weekend in Marvel since Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness in 2022.
Yep. Disney's having a good year so far. And they still got a Moana movie coming up, and they have a Lion King movie, but I don't know that that's going to do.
Well, MCU's the first. MCU just grossed $30 billion.
Yeah, I saw that. And like the comment was like, no franchise has ever done it. But like, what franchise has had 30 installments other than like James Bond? Like, is anything even close to that? Like, I haven't seen that number, but
unless you look at DC, but they're all over the place.
I guess, yeah. But like, I don't know. It was a weird. That's a cool number. That's a huge number. Obviously, it's just like the first to do it. I'm like, well, yeah. Like, is there anybody that's even like remotely close to that number? Surely the MCU has been far and away the largest grossing film franchise ever already. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a good weekend for Marvel, and I'm kind of surprised by the lack of information. We didn't get, about Shang-Chi or Doctor Strange or Thor or all these things, but they still have D23 coming up in a few weeks, so I'm sure we'll hear more then about whatever the projects are. But yeah, it was a good weekend. Doctor Strange no, Deadpool and Wolverine was a fun movie. Glad we got it. Can't wait to watch it again. Excited about the Doom stuff. I have my reservations, but we'll learn more as time goes on. Big weekend.
I just hope Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers can tie it all together with, they got to fix the Quantumania thing with Kang. I'm curious to see how they handle the Kang stuff. I know they talked about recasting, but then you're focused on Doom, so I don't know how you're gonna.
They botched the Kang thing. The Jonathan Major stuff was its own problem, and like they had no control over that. But like how they handled that character in Quantumania was a joke. So like they did that to themselves. Kang's just gone. Like we're not even gonna mention him ever again. Like it's just over.
They just gotta be able to fix that that post-credit scene where they show them all.
Well, I mean that'll always be there. They have so many post-credit scenes that they haven't touched yet, and they probably won't ever touch. So I don't know that we're ever going to see Brett Goldstein's Hercules, or I assume we're going to see Doctor Strange and Clea, but at this point, honestly, I don't know. I don't know when it'll be.
Well, Benedict Cumberbatch came out in June and said he has to start filming for the next movie and like Avengers, I think. Like he said.
I mean, they're taking only a year or so to film these things right now. Like they haven't even started filming Fantastic Four yet. They're starting Fantastic Four this week. And that movie comes out literally 1 year from today or something like that. So I don't know. I just think it's crazy.
I think they already filmed. I saw a clip this morning of the movie. Somebody recorded it at the comic.
Yeah, but that was just like some test footage type stuff. They haven't. They literally are starting actual filming this week.
Oh,
like some spec trailer that they had put together with just the four of them in the room or something.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks. I thought they already had it going.
They haven't even started. I mean,
oh God. Okay,
they've all been busy. I don't know. Whatever.
Well,
but yeah, good weekend. I'm excited. Where did you put Deadpool in your MCU rankings?
Oh, I did not.
I kind of have it like middle of the road. It's kind of.
I do too.
17th is where I have it out of 34 projects. That includes.
Let me rephrase that. I didn't put it on any paper. I thought about it.
It's fine. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's it's kind of right there for me with some of the other ones. Now I'm looking at this list now. I should probably rework it again, but yeah, that's fair. I'm fine with where it's at.
Yeah, I'd put it in the middle of the road of.
Yeah.
It is better than Quantumania. It is better than the Marvels, whatever, which flopped.
Yeah, for sure.
It's better than all those movies.
Yeah.
I put it a little bit above Deadpool 2. I was thinking about that. I think Deadpool 1's the best.
Yep, I agree.
And then I hope Hugh Jackman comes back, kind of passing the torch on to a new Wolverine or something. Something else real quick I thought of is, we were told when people travel different universes, it causes incursions. Now you got this different Wolverine and Deadpool's universe, but it fixed his universe. So that's a new whole other crap that they've added on top. That's why this multiverse thing is very confusing and very annoying, because I know Loki changed how they're going to do things in the TVA and all that stuff. They don't want to prune anymore. They don't want to get rid of life. But then you bring, I don't know, the whole incursion thing.
I think Kevin Feige's ready to wipe it all clean, honestly, and start over and maybe even move on. I think they've just created so much for themselves again. And part of it was for the better, for as long as they did it, as well as they did it. But they've kind of put themselves into some corners that they're not going to be able to dig themselves out of without like coming up with some sort of cheesy reasoning. So they're using the multiverse to do it, which again is a thing comic books have been doing for decades. So like that shouldn't be like that crazy, but it kind of is. For movie viewers, it's hard to like wrap your head around some of these things.
I guess to end it, are we excited for Agatha at all?
I mean,
thing coming up.
I enjoyed the heck out of WandaVision, and I thought that Catherine Hahn's Agatha was one of the best parts of the show. So for those reasons, sure, I'm excited enough. I'm certainly not like wishing the next couple months away for it. I didn't even watch Echo. I think I mentioned at the top of the show. So again, not that those two are connected really in any way, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited enough, but not like I was for Deadpool, or not honestly like I am for the movies that are coming out next year. But yeah, I really liked her in that movie or in the first show, and so sure. How about you?
I mean, I am to get a different vibe because it has like a horror vibe thing to it. Like, it's getting away from what WandaVision was probably a little bit. I think I'm more excited to find out what happened to Wanda. Like, that's all it's for, I guess.
And I don't know if we'll even get that, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked if we hardly see anything of Wanda, which will be weird because she's got to be a big part of that story, but I don't think they know what they're doing with her.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like, I guess I'm not excited like I was for WandaVision or Loki or those shows. I have the same feeling I did with like She-Hulk of like, oh, hopefully this is just a entertaining show. Like I'm more excited for Daredevil if they can get it figured out, but I'm more excited for that.
Yeah.
They showed a clip of a fight scene in it and I'm like, okay, this looks cool. And it gives homage to the Netflix one. But I don't even know. I was excited for Robert Downey Jr. Because you're right. Maybe they're like, you got to save us. You got to bring some.
That is Marvel Jesus.
That is Marvel Jesus.
That is Marvel Jesus. It's not Wade Wilson. It's Tony Stark or whatever character he's going to play. That's Marvel Jesus.
I do want to see that character, and the reason why I want Deadpool to come back, and they brought this up too, but I want to see him interact with some of the MCU characters because I don't know how they would handle him.
Yeah.
But what they brought up is they have a lot of battles to bring Deadpool back because he is a rated R character.
Yeah.
So if you bring him into the Avengers, is he going to be clean talking? Like, crap.
He'll have to tone him down a little bit. Yeah. That's going to be the hard part. So, I think he would want to do it. I think Ryan Reynolds wants to be in an Avengers movie. But
they have to make it rated R then because he's going to come in and be himself. Like they can make it rated R just for the words.
They'll probably just bleep him. Honestly, like I could totally see them just like bleeping him every time he does it. Like just I don't know.
That'd be funny.
There are different ways they could do it, but yeah, I think he wants to be in an Avengers movie, and I think they're gonna have to. As well as that movie did, I don't think there's any way they can leave that character, if not both of them, out of the next two Avengers movies. At least one of them. So
yeah, he'll come back for Secret Wars. Just has to. Yeah. But they already said they may have to make it rated R just because of the way he talks.
They won't do that. There's no way they'll do that. They'll bleep him out before they make it rated R. They can't do that.
That was the only hurdle they said they would have to battle to bring him back. And that was it. That was the only uphill battle they would have to do. But for a Marvel rated R movie, it wasn't too bad.
No, and it did really well at the box office, surprisingly enough. So good for them.
And was there any other thoughts I had? Nope, I guess not. Besides, I wanted more movie updates on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Last night I saw they delayed Blade again, and that's why I retweeted and said it's never going to happen. They're going to scrap it because that's the next thing. You have Moon Knight, and you have that leading up to, like, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's why I saw another thing. Is that why they brought back Wesley Snipes to say, like, he's the only Blade because we just can't get this done? And that's why Deadpool looked at the camera.
I thought that was an interesting decision to leave that line in the movie for whatever the reason.
Well, because when Deadpool looked at the camera, I was like, oh, somebody should tell him that they're going to make another one. But then listening to other podcasts right after, because I saw it Friday morning. So I was listening to podcasts the rest of the day while playing college football on, they were like, or was he looking at the camera to be like, Disney, get your act together and get the next movie, like that type of thing?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
So I don't care if it happens. I don't care if Blade ever happens again.
I don't need it. Honestly, no. I don't need it.
They already talked about a Moon Knight season 2, but that hasn't picked up any traction. Like, to end it, don't be surprised I won't be surprised if Feige and them start cutting things. Like, you know what?
No, I think they will.
There is going to be no Moon Knight season 2. There is going to be no, like, this, or this. Even if they start filming some of it, I guarantee he might be like, you know what? We got the money. Cut it. We're done. We got to get back on track to fix this. Especially if we got Ronnie. I don't see Robert Downey Jr. coming back unless he had, like, like, hope and guarantee that they'll do well. Like, I don't see him, or even the Russo brothers. That's just me.
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what's going on through their heads, but they're praying for a miracle at this point. So they decided to shoot for the stars.
And they got the star. Now they gotta
build around the star.
And I love Harrison Ford being in the MCU. Just
I do as well. Well, this was good. Good stuff.
And I only said Doctor Strange's name like 4 times.
5.
There's
not much to talk about with him right now, Steve, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
I was hoping last night they would just say,
I know.
A Doctor Strange 3 movie.
I know.
The only hope I had is that in June he did say he has to start filming. And I'm assuming it's for the Avengers movie. But, like, that's quick that he has to film.
I don't think he's getting another movie before Doomsday. It wouldn't add up unless it's going to be that February slot.
That's a lot of filming to get done, though.
Yeah.
Unless his movie takes place in between Avengers.
It could. Movies. I mean, it's going to be incursion related, so it's certainly possible, but I don't know.
Or I don't know. Don't be surprised if they chopped Eternals. They said they're done with, like, the second movie. Don't be surprised if they chop Shang-Chi 2. I know they want it, but I would not be surprised if they even get that off because they just can't continue the path.
I don't know what they're doing at this point. I'm just going to sit back and wait for more information.
When's the next thing? The Disney thing?
It's in August or September. D23. August 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Okay. So not too far.
No, just a couple weeks, honestly. So we'll know more then. I don't know how much more, but we'll know more then.
Hopefully then I'll have my new podcast. This is the last podcast done in the original Stu.
Pour one out. Pour one out for the studio.
It's all done. And then hopefully the basement studio will be done. And my wife said she'll help me decorate it because I do a horrible job. So she's like, I'll make it look better.
I look forward to hopping on and doing another show in that new studio.
All right.
Congratulations on the house. Good luck on the move.
Oh, don't remind me of that. Next weekend. Next weekend. A week from now, I'll be in the new house. So
that's awesome. Good luck.
And Robert Downey Jr. is Marvel Jesus.
Marvel Jesus.